Patrick Blam from Blam Consulting, Aachen, Germany. Hello, pleased to meet you. Patrick is presenting a contribution entitled Product Learning, What We Can Learn as Learning Professionals from Modern Tech Products. So here we are going to learn how two of the most effective ways to link progress towards business impact and individual product feature ideas in a business model could perform through two combined methods: impact mapping and opportunity solution in trees.
Hello, my name is Patrick. I wish you a very warm welcome to my presentation about product learning. What can we learn as learning professionals from modern tech products? And in 2017, I've been to San Diego to another learning conference. I met a guy at the port, a very smart guy, who was able to stockpile this rocks. And I went to him and I said, how it is possible to pile these rocks on another so that they don't fall? And he said, you have to have an open mind. You have to feel the center of the stone, and then it's very easy to put them on one another. And it's just a matter of mindset. And therefore, I would like to ask you to adopt the so-called Shoshin mindset for this presentation. It's Japanese, Shoshin. Sho means beginners, and Shin is mind. So I want you to adopt the Shoshin mindset for this presentation, because some of what I'm going to talk will sound familiar, especially for the learning professionals among you. But in fact and in detail, it's something slightly different. So I asked you to think, not to think, I already know that, but to listen with a beginner's mindset. Are you willing to do that for me? Thank you very much. So then we can start right now. The question is, what can we learn from modern tech companies? And I'm not going to talk to you about tech today. I'm going to talk to you about people and how they build their products. And at first, I want to give you a little bit background about myself. I founded a company called Inside Business Group in Germany in 1995, and we have been for over 15 years one of the top 10 e-learning providers, full service providers in Germany. And we provided products, software as a service products, for example, authoring systems and learning management systems for our clients, but also we implemented big projects for mid-sized and huge companies in Germany. And I like to share some of my experience I made in this company. I sold it in 2019, and now I'm a consultant and coach for corporate learning for my clients. And what can we learn from tech companies? In my company, we created products with a team of 20 developers. And in the world, there are many other successful companies, much bigger than we are, which provide digital products that are able to drive business impact to their customers. And that is very important if you have a product that drives the business impact. And all of these companies have product teams that use certain framework that makes it possible to create products that make it possible to reach this kind of solutions that to impact really the business. And one of some of these frameworks are the product field framework, or the value proposition canvas, or product vision boards, or impact mapping, or opportunity solutions trees. And today I want to introduce you with one of these frameworks, because I think it's very quite adaptable to the corporate learning world. So as we developed our software product at the beginning, there have been somehow different universes inside the company. One on a high level business metrics level, and that is what managers care the most about. And the other level, the upper level, was the product feature level, and that was what the product team was most of the time told to care about. And maybe you have been in the same situation, that the manager enters your office and said, hey, we have a new product and we want you to create a web-based training because all of our salespeople have to know everything about this product. So they enter your office, not with a problem, they bring a solution into your office. But I think that's not a very good way, and there's a very big gap, and it's highly unlikely that if people meet and have a discussion about a new solution, that they will come to a conclusion. And have you been in this kind of situation yourself? Okay, maybe then this framework I want to introduce you will help you to close the gap. It's not a new tool. It's invented in 2012 by Gojko Atkic, and it was refined by Tim Herbig, a German product management coach whom I met several years ago, and who introduced this framework to me, which we used in the companies since then. And in a nutshell, it's impact mapping is a 5-level framework, and the beauty of this is that it helps you not only to take one step by another, to connect the dots and make informed decisions without losing sight of the big picture of what you're going to achieve. And on the very first level of this model, you want to be aware of the impact that you are trying to create for the company. And it's very important that we all have the same understanding of what an impact in a business is. So I brought a definition I stole it from Tim Herbig, and he defined an impact as a high-level expression of where an organization wants to be expressed through result metrics. And this is probably something that is typically provided by the CEO or the CFO or the CTO or a manager of a second level management, or a product manager, for example. And depending on whom you ask, you get another insight here, what kind of metric matters most to express the health of a company. But oftentimes it's like something like revenue, or something like churn, or as you told us, Gary, it's something related to customer satisfaction, like the NPS, or anything in that regard. Let's come back to the model. On the second level, this model is about identifying which actors can help to achieve this impact, to achieve the goal, the reason why you are building this product. And the third level is about the outcomes you want to create for these actors. And I have to bother you with another definition, but I think it helps to understand this model better. And this means you have to create the behavior of the actor that contributes to the business goal to help the organization strive. And there's a very close connection between output, outcomes, and impact, and it's defined by a program logic model from the social impact sector, and it consists of 5 building blocks. One of the building blocks is resources. This means it's employees. I hate resources in the connection with employees, but it's the model, and it's time and it's money. And in the product world, these employees are the UX designer, a developer, and a product manager. And the second building block is the activities, the work they do. And this next building block, and this is where what we used in the model as well, is the output, and that are the features they create through their work. And then the next building block, and that is very important, is what the people do with what the team creates, and impact is the results generated by the outcome. So that's the basis of the model. And when we have a look at the next level, this is about the output, the solution. Is that what we are going to create during the process? And here's another definition. An output is an artifact that has been delivered through activities. In the product world, this could be a minimal viable product, MVP, that is rolled out after a number of sprints, or it's a set of features for an A/B test, or any other result from development work. And in our world, in the corporate learning world, this could be an online or hybrid course, or a set of micro-learning nuggets, or a performance support tool as well. And on the lowest level, it's about how people continuously run experiments to validate whether they should actually pursue a solution or not. And this is kind of what product people do. Later in this presentation, we are going to talk about how this could fit in the corporate learning world as well. Now I hope you got a first impression of what impact mapping is. And in my opinion, impact mapping supports pretty much the course of a product team in an integral way. So product teams want to build solutions that have been validated to change the behavior of users and contribute to business goals. And that is what we as learning professionals, in my opinion, have in common with products teams when we see our learning solutions as products instead as the result of mere projects. And this would look like this. What we want is to build learning solutions that have been validated to change the behavior of learners and contribute to business goals. And isn't that what we all want? To create something that helps people and companies to evolve and succeed? And now we can have a deeper look on how this works. The first level, briefly for recap, on the first level, we start with why, meaning we want to be aware of the impact we are going to create. This can be the reduction of customer complaints by 5%. It's a business metrics, or decreasing customer response time under 2 hours, or increasing the sales conversion for product X by 2%. But we have to be aware that these impact metrics, they are also called lagging indicators. They only look into the past, and therefore they don't have. They have a limited prediction power. What we need if we want to measure our success during the usage of our products. And if we would only measure impact metrics, we had a huge problem, because it's like driving with 70 miles per hour on a highway with an opaque window looking only in the back mirror. So that's a big problem if you want to measure it continuously. And I will come later on to this topic in my presentation to compare it with leading indicators. On the WHO level, we want to understand who are the important actors. Important actors are those who significantly contribute or influence the business goals, including the so-called end users. This is product jargon, but we call them end users, but also everybody else who is involved. And we differentiate between primary actors, secondary actors, and offstage actors. And most of the time, the end users are the primary actors in the product world. And in the corporate learning world, the primary actor would be our learners, the employees we want to use our learning solutions. But there are also secondary actors like decision makers or people who provide a kind of service in context with the business goals. And sometimes there are also offstage actors who have an interest in the product, but are not directly benefiting or providing services like work councils, for example, or adjacent managers. And this approach helps us to find out all the actors contributing to the impact. But don't consider only the primary actors. Look beyond the obvious. Maybe interviews can help you to spot secondary and offstage actors as well. But in my opinion, be specific. Don't use terms like users or learners. These are not specific enough, because different categories of learners have different needs and different problems. And in this level, we often use personas to identify these actors better. The next level is finding out how to change. And in my opinion, it's the most important level. And the outcomes are things people do. They are both observable and measurable. And that's very good. The performance on outcomes over output, in my opinion, is a fundamental change. Instead of focusing on what you intend to do and what you intend to build, you are setting the focus on the people and how their change in behavior can impact the business. And this is a different kind of game. And the good thing is it's very, very measurable and observable directly. And therefore, this behavior can be used as so-called leading indicators, because they have much more predictive power than the impact metrics I told you before. Do you use metrics in your environment? For example, some learning metrics? You want to share some metrics? Is it completions rate or?
Well, for instance, we have an outcomes assessment test, and we want to achieve a certain ratio on that, a certain percentage of our students achieving 80% on that at the end of the course or the end of the program.
Okay, cool. Yeah, these metrics are learning metrics. It's are not business metrics. And in my opinion, learning metrics do not really predict, or especially do not necessarily correlate with the business impact. And this model helps us to connect the business metrics with the products we produce, and we measure it by the usage of leading indicators based on the outcomes, the change in behavior of the people who use our product. Yeah. On the next level, it's about what to build, and we want to build a solution that creates change in the behavior by the users. And in the product world, we conduct solution ideation in cross-functional teams. For example, it's called the product trio. It's the product manager, the designer, and the developer. But this would also be possible in the corporate learning world with teams like product manager, instructional designer, and subject matter expert. And sometimes if there's not enough expertise within the small group, we invite stakeholders needed to get enough insight. But because this is your area of expertise, how to build learning solution, I don't spend pretty much time on it. But in most cases, I want to point out, and you said it as well, it's not a question, if you build a learning solution, about conveying information or impairing knowledge. It's about doing. Because the change in behavior is what it's about, what the people are going to do to achieve the business goals. So therefore, I want to introduce you with a nice model we also use. It's called action mapping. Maybe you use it. It's invented by Casey Moore. And it has a similar intention as the impact mapping. But what is interesting is the center is the same. It's about the business goals. Then she describes the actions is what people need to do to reach the goal. But what we are going to build then are activities. And we want to try to design activities that help people to practice each behavior. And this is very interesting. And then we only provide the information that the people really, really need to know, not more. It's the minimum information people need to know, to show the behavior, to change their behavior. And we don't throw them with too much content. And on the lowest level, it's about deciding whether to build it or not. And this level, that helps you to validate your ideas. In the product world, not every feature is immediately built, meaning coded. Product people use some tweaks like rapid prototyping or visit of Oz to validate their ideas directly with their users. And in our case, if our solution, for example, would be based on a microlearning approach, we could start with some microlearning nuggets and test them together with the learners, evaluate results, refine the learning nuggets, learn from this experience, and build the next learning nuggets. And this is one of our favorite proceedings. And it works very well in larger initiatives. That is the best environment to do this kind of research. And yes, I hope I could help you a little bit to understand or to get a very good tool, in my opinion, that closes the gap between the high business impact level metrics with the product you're going to produce, the learning solutions. And thank you very much for your attention. And I'm open for questions. And if you want to contact me, there's my email address as well.
Thank you, Patrick. It was really inspiring.
Thank you.
Let's see if we have the mic.
That's right here.
Hi, it's there. Ah, sorry.
Patrick, you looked at this in terms of changing the behavior of the worker in
Yes.
some way to improve. I think one of the problems is that we constantly think the problem is we have to change the behavior of the worker. When are you also looking at, do you change the work so that we enable them to do it rather than teach them to behave differently? Can we get rid of the hurdles, the things that are causing the problems or not getting you to the goals that you want, the output and the outcome, rather than focusing on what do we teach them, focusing on how do we change the environment, how do we change the work and so forth, and how do you make that difference between the...
I know what you mean, but we change the behavior, for example, to speak in your terms, also if we provide them with a performance support tool, because in my opinion, it's very pretty much mixed to change the environment, and by changing the environment, you change the behavior as well. So it's very close together, but I understand your point. We could explain it in a little bit more slightly different way. Yes, but you're right. Changing the environment changes. It's much more sometimes very important, and you need to. It leads to the change of the behavior as well of the
People
employees.
miss that point, and you spend a lot of time.
Yeah. You're right.
You just get rid of the hurdles.
Yeah. You're right.
Keep them in it.
Yeah. Thanks for that insight.
Yeah, and that's
Gary.
exactly what I was going to say, is that, I mean, there's two ways to foster performance or behavior change. One way is to raise the skill, knowledge, and ability of the person up to a level of complexity. The other way is to reduce the complexity. And what I saw in your impact analysis, and one of your last slides showed you converging in both directions. You're talking about in the application development, doing good UI, using personas to keep you away from edge cases and all of that sort of thing. So I see the environment actually changing to some degree as well as
Yes.
and it's an optimization problem.
Yes,
So
right. And also the output is not necessarily a learning product. The output could be a performance support tool as well, because it better helps the employee to reach the business goals than to teach him something else.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you. The only question I really have is, why didn't they schedule your talk before mine?
It would be
really
a good
helpful.
introduction, yes. Thank you.
So there's one more there.
Hi, Patrick, very interesting.
Hi.
I wanted to know, in which point of learning product development you use the impact mapping? It's before developing, it's after developing, it's like you do a pilot and...
It's always, we start with it before we are going to develop a product, because you have to know where it should lead to your product. So you want to influence the business impact, the business metrics. So you have to know about the actors who are able to influence them. So you're going to identify the actors at the next step. And then if you have identified the actors, then you're going to have a look at what do they have to change how do they have to change their behavior to reach that goal. So it's always, it starts at the top, step by step, and we do it before we are going to code or to create the learning solution.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so I had a comment or an issue that I would like you to expand. So, this relation between learner value and business value,
Yes.
how can we, find the ideal balance, let's say so?
Okay. The question was how to find the right balance between the outcome for the learner and the outcome for the business. That's quite a good question. We always try to in the impact mapping process. We try to really get in touch with the learners to learn about their pains and their problem, and we want to try to solve both the learner problems and also the business problems. And we use this model to have always the big picture in mind. And we use the personas to really identify the learner problems. So this is the way we try to solve both problems and try to find a good balance, because it's not good if you only solve the business problems and leave the people behind. And this model is, in my opinion, it's a people model, because we put the learner in the center and talk about the learner and not about the product or the outputs.
Yeah, in fact, I perfectly agree with you, because we always need to take care of this balance, and so to look for this balance. And I'm sure that if you value the learner, you automatically you value also the business. I mean. So thank you all for being at this session. I think we're going to have a break, if I'm not wrong. And thank you all, and see you later. Thank you.